Chosen one, lock your attention on this message right now. That quiet anticipation sitting in your spirit, the one you keep dismissing as wishful thinking, stop dismissing it. Something is coming to your door, and the enemy has been working overtime this week to make sure you answer it in the wrong spirit. It all shifts in the next 24 hours. The waiting, the silence, the feeling that everyone else is receiving, and you have been overlooked. But here is what you need to understand before anything else. This is not ending because of coincidence. It is ending because of what you have chosen to do in this season. Think back to that moment this week when you almost gave your answer away. When you almost told someone what you were believing for and something in your spirit said no, stay quiet, protect it. You did not know it then, but that restraint was a wall. That silence was a gate. You were not being timid. You were guarding the delivery. You did not find this message by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. The Holy Spirit did. This is a divine appointment, scheduled before the foundations of the earth, and you are standing on the other side of a door that is about to be knocked on. Stay until the very last second of this message, because in the next few minutes I am going to hand you the spiritual audit that reveals exactly how your faithfulness this season positioned you for this arrival. I am going to walk you through the exact lie the enemy has been using to make you step away from your door right before the knock comes. And at the end, I am going to give you the declaration that seals your receiving and dismantles every assignment sent to delay your surprise. Do not click away. Your future self is standing at that open door right now, and they are asking you to stay. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. The atmosphere has been strange, not loud, not chaotic, just thick, like something is pressing in from every direction, and you cannot name what it is. Maybe you found yourself standing in a room this week and completely forgetting why you walked in. Your thoughts scattered in a way that felt like more than tiredness. Or maybe you woke up at 3:00 in the morning this week with something stirring in your chest, not fear exactly, but an alertness, like your spirit knew something your mind had not been told yet. Or perhaps you have been catching yourself staring at your phone, at your inbox, at your front door, waiting for something to arrive without knowing what it is or who it is from. You feel suspended, like you are in the hallway between the old chapter and the one that was promised to you, and the silence in that hallway has started to feel like abandonment. And in that silence, the enemy has been whispering a very specific lie. Listen to your thoughts right now. He is telling you that the reason the knock has not come yet is because you did something wrong. He is replaying a specific moment in your mind, that moment when you pulled back from someone, that moment when you chose rest over effort, that moment when you stopped pushing and simply waited. The accuser is telling you that your pause was a mistake. He is telling you that you misread the season, that you should have kept striving, and that because you stopped, the blessing passed your door and moved on to someone more deserving. But I need you to hear what the scripture actually says about this moment. Habakkuk 2:3 says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." Listen to that promise. It will surely come. It will not tarry. Listen to that promise. It will surely come. It will not tarry. The enemy is trying to convince you that the delay is a denial. He wants you to walk away from your own door. He wants you tired, distracted, and 3 steps down the hall when the knock finally lands. But that is a deception. You are not being bypassed. You are being prepared for a delivery that requires you to be present. The heaviness you feel right now is not the weight of being forgotten. It is the weight of something significant approaching. It is the atmospheric pressure that precedes an arrival. The stillness before the knock. You think your pause this season was weakness. You think the waiting was wasted time. But let me reframe your reality right now. That waiting was not passive. That waiting was positioning. Every day you held your peace. Every day you guarded your expectation instead of broadcasting it. Every day you stayed close to your door instead of wandering. That was obedience in its highest form. And obedience always answers the door. You did not delay your blessing. You earned the right to receive it. And I need you to stay right here with me, because what I'm about to walk you through isn't something you stumbled upon by accident. You were drawn to this message. Something in your spirit recognized it before your mind could even process why. That matters. That is not coincidence. That is coordination, divine, deliberate, and deeply personal. This is not just a random encounter with words on a screen. It is a divine orchestration, a celestial whisper to your soul, a recognition that transcends the ordinary. Your spirit, that ancient knowing part of you, has been nudging you, guiding you toward this very moment, this very revelation. It's like a compass needle that has finally found its true north, aligning with a truth that resonates in the very depths of your being. This connection, this feeling of being seen and called, is the first sign that you are on the precipice of something magnificent, something designed for you. Many are called, but few receive the instructions. If your spirit is burning right now, the Chosen One's blueprint holds the roadmap God designed specifically for people like you. It includes the complete audio book so you can carry this revelation with you wherever you go, plus a bonus ebook activating your prophet mantle for those who sense God is preparing them to speak with authority. Find it in the first pinned comment below, available for a limited time only. This is not a generic plan, it is a personalized blueprint, etched by the Creator himself, tailored to the unique contours of your destiny. Think of it as a sacred scroll, unrolled just for you, detailing the steps, the insights, and the divine strategies that will pave your way. The audiobook ensures this wisdom becomes a constant companion, a sanctuary of truth you can access anytime, anywhere. And for those who feel the stirring of a prophetic call, the ebook is a key, unlocking the wisdom to speak with divine clarity and power. Now let's go deeper, because this is where most people stop short of everything they were promised. We stand at the threshold of true understanding, a place where the veil between your current reality and your promised future thins. It's easy to remain in the familiar, to settle for what is known. But the true inheritance lies just beyond this comfort zone, in the realm of deeper realization. There is something that has been standing between you and the knock, between you and the arrival, and it isn't what you think. You've been told your delay is spiritual warfare. You've been told it's the enemy blocking your blessing. And while there is truth in that, it's not the whole truth. The part nobody tells you is this: sometimes the greatest barrier to your breakthrough isn't a demonic force outside of you. It's an agreement you made inside of you. An agreement that says you are not ready. An agreement that says people like you don't get to receive that kind of blessing. An agreement that was handed to you so early in life, it feels like your own voice, but it was never yours. Imagine a deeply rooted weed, its tendrils woven so tightly into the soil of your soul that it feels like part of the earth itself. This agreement, this internal contract of limitation, has been nurtured over years, perhaps even generations, whispered into your being by well-meaning caregivers, societal conditioning, or painful experiences. It masquerades as logic, as self-preservation, even as wisdom. But it is a phantom, a construct that has no true power unless you continue to honor it. It's the subtle but persistent inner voice that murmurs doubts, that replays old narratives of inadequacy, that projects limitations onto your future based on the perceived limitations of your past. It is a subtle poison disguised as a protective shield. Think about Moses. Here was a man chosen before birth, marked before language, destined to carry an entire nation into freedom. And yet, when the Most High appeared to him in fire and called him by name, Moses's first response wasn't worship. It wasn't gratitude. It was argument. Who am I? What if they don't believe me? I am slow of speech. Every response was a rehearsed agreement with unworthiness, not laziness, not rebellion, unworthiness. And God didn't argue with him. God dismantled the agreement. God showed him what was already in his hand. The staff was always there. The power was always present. The only thing that needed to shift was Moses' willingness to stop agreeing with his own smallness. Moses, the deliverer, the lawgiver, the man who would stand in the presence of God, felt utterly inadequate. His mind, conditioned by years of Egyptian servitude and the perceived limitations of his own speech, conjured a litany of reasons why he was unfit. These weren't fabrications, they were deeply ingrained agreements with his perceived reality. But God didn't focus on the objections. Instead, he pointed to the present reality, the staff, a symbol of authority and power already in Moses' hand. God's response was not to rebuke Moses' unworthiness, but to reveal the resources and the divine power already available to him, waiting only for Moses to release the internal agreement that was blinding him to his own capacity. You have been doing the same thing, and the knock that is coming cannot be fully received by someone who still believes they don't deserve it. That's the part that has to break first. The knock at your door, the divine invitation, the arrival of your promised blessing, requires an open receiver. If the foundation of your being is built on the shaky ground of, "I don't deserve this," the delivery cannot be completed. This internal dissonance creates a spiritual impedance, a blockage that prevents the full reception of what is meant for you. The breaking point is not external, it is the shattering of that internal agreement, the dismantling of the self-imposed barrier that says no when heaven is saying yes. But here's where it goes deeper, and this is the layer most people never reach. We are delving into the architecture of the soul, excavating the hidden foundations upon which our entire sense of self is built. This is not superficial, it is about the core programming that dictates our experience of reality. It's not just the agreement with unworthiness, it's the identity that was built on top of it. When you believe you are not enough for long enough, you stop calling it a wound. You start calling it wisdom. You start calling your smallness humility. You start calling your retreat discernment. And that is dangerous, because now the very thing that was meant to protect you has become the thing that's imprisoning you. You built a theology around your pain. You made a doctrine out of your delay. And because it sounds spiritual, no one challenges it, not even you. This is the insidious nature of a deeply ingrained false identity. The pain you experienced was real, and your soul, in its wisdom, created coping mechanisms. It learned to shrink, to withdraw, to silence itself, to survive. Over time, these survival strategies became so ingrained that they were mistaken for core aspects of who you are. Your wound, the very source of your pain, becomes the lens through which you view yourself and the world. The protective shell you built to shield yourself from further hurt hardens into a prison wall. Your retreat, once a necessary escape, becomes a doctrine of isolation. Your silence, a tool for survival, is reframed as sacred humility. This spiritual camouflage is so convincing, so deeply woven into your self-narrative, that it becomes impervious to challenge, even from yourself. You've become a theologian of your own suffering, crafting a belief system that justifies your limitations, effectively worshipping the very things that hold you captive. Coming up, the one shift that separates those who receive the knock from those who hear it but never open the door. Stay with me, because this is the part that breaks the cycle. We are about to uncover the pivotal pivot, the singular internal recalibration that makes the difference between poised anticipation and active participation in your divine destiny. This is where the static transforms into symphony, where the journey from hearing to responding truly begins. But first, this has to land. What God is sending toward your life right now is not meant for a smaller version of you. The blessing is sized for who you are called to become, not who your trauma convinced you to remain. And this is where the walk gets costly, because becoming that person requires something almost no one is willing to do voluntarily. It requires grieving who you've been. This is a profound truth that can feel like a jolt to the system. The blessings, the opportunities, the divine appointments that are on their way are not designed for the person you have been forced to be by circumstance or wounding. They are crafted for the expansive, empowered, fully realized version of you that exists in the divine blueprint. Embracing this means a necessary letting go. It's not about self-punishment, but about acknowledging the past with reverence for its role in your survival, while simultaneously releasing its grip on your future. Not condemning yourself, not performing repentance, grieving. There is a version of you that kept you safe when the world was unsafe. That version was brave. That version was necessary. But that version was never meant to be permanent. And as long as you protect that smaller self, as long as you refuse to let it go, the door stays closed. Not because God is punishing you, because you are not fully positioned to step through it. Grieving is an act of honor, not of shame. It is acknowledging the sacrifices made by your past self, the resilience shown in the face of adversity. That younger, perhaps more fearful or defensive version of you was a vital protector, a necessary shield. But like a cherished childhood toy that has served its purpose, it must eventually be lovingly placed aside to make room for the adult who has grown beyond its protective embrace. Holding onto that past self out of a mistaken sense of loyalty or fear of the unknown creates an energetic tether that prevents you from stepping fully into the present and future. The door remains closed, not as a penalty, but as a natural consequence of not yet embodying the fullness of who you are meant to be on the other side. David understood this in a way that rarely gets preached. Before he ever stood in front of Goliath, he had already faced the lion and the bear in private. Nobody saw those moments. Nobody celebrated them. There was no audience, no confirmation, no prophetic word over the encounter. Just a young man and a wild thing trying to steal what was in his care. And he didn't hesitate. He didn't wait for permission. He moved from the inside out, from an identity so secure in God that the giant wasn't a threat, it was simply the next thing. His preparation wasn't in the training field. It was in the field where no one was watching, and yours has been the same. The suffering you went through when no one was paying attention. That was the formation. That was the lion. That was the bear. And you are far more prepared than you have allowed yourself to believe. David's early encounters with predators were not failures or mere acts of survival. They were the crucible in which his courage, his faith, and his divine identity were forged. These were silent battles, fought in the unseen realms of his own heart and will, where the only witness was God. His preparation wasn't about learning new techniques. It was about realizing his inherent strength, his divine empowerment, which made the ultimate confrontation with Goliath a natural progression, not a terrifying leap of faith. Your own hidden struggles, the moments of deep pain, profound loneliness, or quiet perseverance where no one noticed, were not periods of wasted time. They were the sacred forge where your character was tempered, your faith deepened, and your readiness solidified. You are not merely waiting for your moment. You have been actively preparing for it in ways you may not have recognized. And what's coming next will likely surprise you. It always does. The divine often unfolds in ways that defy our expectations, often exceeding them in brilliance and scope. Because once you accept that you've been prepared, the next question your mind immediately asks is, then why is it taking so long? Why, if I've been prepared, if I've been chosen, if I've done the work, why is the door still closed? And this is where most people turn inward with accusation. They begin to audit themselves endlessly. They begin to wonder what they missed, what they did wrong, what sin is blocking the flow. And the enemy is more than happy to fuel that audit. He will give you a list. He will make you rehearse it daily. But that spiritual audit, when it is driven by fear rather than wisdom, isn't sanctification. It's sabotage. The moment we believe we are ready, the question of delay becomes a source of immense frustration and self-doubt. The enemy thrives in this space, whispering accusations and conjuring specters of past failures or hidden imperfections. This self-inflicted scrutiny, this obsessive auditing of one's spiritual life, is often not a pathway to purity, but a deliberate distraction, a cleverly disguised form of spiritual sabotage, designed to keep you locked in a cycle of self-condemnation and inaction. True spiritual growth, sanctification, is a process of grace and truth, not a fearful excavation of perceived flaws. The delay is not punishment. The delay is pressure. And pressure, in the hands of a sovereign God, is not cruelty, it is craft. A diamond is not formed in comfort. It is formed under the kind of weight that would destroy anything not built to carry it. And you are still here. You have not been destroyed. That is not weakness surviving. That is purpose enduring. Consider the transformation of coal into a diamond. It requires immense pressure, sustained over eons, in conditions that would obliterate lesser substances. This pressure doesn't break the diamond, it creates its unparalleled brilliance and hardness. In the same way, the seasons of waiting, the periods of intense challenge, are not divine punishments. They are the divine craftsmen at work, applying the necessary pressure to refine your spirit, to embed within you the qualities of resilience, strength, and divine purpose that will enable you to shine brilliantly in your appointed season. Your continued existence through these trials is not a testament to mere endurance, but to the deep-seated purpose within you, a purpose that God is meticulously bringing to its full, radiant potential. Now, once you understand that, you're ready for this. And this is the shift that changes everything. We are now poised at the precipice of a fundamental reorientation, a paradigm shift that will alter your entire perspective on your journey and its ultimate destination. The knock that is coming is not just coming to give you something. It is coming to reveal something. It is coming to show you and the world around you who you have become through the fire. The blessing is not the point. The transformation is the testimony. God is not just trying to upgrade your circumstances. He is trying to unveil a person. And that person, the version of you that has been forged in the silence and the struggle, is the one the door is about to swing open for. The ultimate gift is not merely the external circumstance, the new job, the healed relationship, the financial breakthrough. These are byproducts. The true divine intention is the unveiling of the person you have become in the process. The fire has not been to burn you, but to refine you, to polish you, to reveal the radiant essence of who you were created to be. Your testimony, the story of your journey, is the evidence of this profound internal metamorphosis. The blessing is the reward, but the transformation is the magnificent testament to God's redemptive and creative power working within you. But let me challenge you with something, because this is the confrontation zone, and I would do you a disservice to let you leave without it. Prepare yourself for a direct encounter with a deeply held pattern, an honest self-assessment that is crucial for your progress. There is something you've been waiting for before you move. A sign, a confirmation, a feeling of readiness, a green light from someone you respect. And you have dressed this, waiting in the language of patience. You've called it trusting God's timing. And sometimes that's exactly what it is. But if you're honest with yourself, you know there's a version of your waiting that is not faith. It is fear. It is the fear of being wrong. The fear of being rejected after trying. The fear that you will knock and nothing will happen. And so you wait for the universe to guarantee the outcome before you take the step. This is the seductive illusion of passive waiting. We convince ourselves that we are exercising virtue, that we are exhibiting profound trust, when in reality we are often paralyzed by the fear of failure. The desire for absolute certainty, for a guarantee of success before we act, is a hallmark of this fear-driven waiting. It's the internal bargain. If you, God, or the universe can promise me this outcome, then I will move. But this is not the currency of the spiritual realm. But that's not how the kingdom works. That is not how doors open. Ruth did not wait until she had certainty before she walked out of Moab. She had one word, a word she spoke herself. Wherever you go, I will go. She declared her direction before she could see her destination. And the moment she moved, the provision began to move with her. Boaz didn't find her sitting still. He found her in the field, working, present, positioned. And the rest of her life opened up from that one courageous act of motion. Ruth's pledge to Naomi was not a calculated risk based on guaranteed outcomes. It was an act of radical devotion that created the pathway for her destiny. A declaration preceded her destination, and her willingness to move, to engage, to work, drew the provision of Boaz and the unfolding of her lineage. The kingdom responds to courageous initiative, not to fearful paralysis. It finds you not waiting passively in the wings, but actively engaged in the field of your calling, even when the path ahead is not fully illuminated. Your knock is not going to arrive to a version of you that is paralyzed. It is moving toward a version of you that is already in motion. Heaven is not just observing, it is converging. It is aligning with your movement, with your steps of faith, however small. The more you move, the more the divine current will carry you forward. Your progress creates the space for your breakthrough. Here's the part you probably didn't expect. The thing that has been blocking you isn't the enemy. It's not your past. It's not even the people who hurt you. The thing blocking you has been your belief that the breakthrough was coming to you, rather than the truth, which is that you are being called to walk toward it. The door doesn't swing open from the outside alone. There is a handle on both sides, and heaven has been waiting, not passively but actively, for you to reach out and take hold of your own liberation. This is the profound revelation. The breakthrough is not a passive reception. It is an active participation. You have a role to play, a hand on the handle. The divine is already positioned to meet you, to unlock the door from the other side, but your participation, your willingness to engage, is the catalyst. Your liberation is not something to be granted. It is something to be claimed, to be stepped into by your own courageous choice. This changes everything you thought about waiting. This reframes every season of what felt like abandonment. You were never forgotten. You were never overlooked. You were being drawn, pulled, called forward. And the knock you've been expecting at your door is also the knock of your own courage, asking to be released. Every moment that felt like a void, every period of silence, was not an absence of God, but an active drawing, a spiritual preparation, a divine gathering of strength within you. The external knock is mirrored by an internal one, the persistent call of your own awakened courage, ready to be unleashed. And once that clicks, everything shifts. This realization is the fulcrum upon which your reality pivots. It's the moment the fog lifts, the moment the gears begin to turn smoothly, the moment the trajectory of your life is irrevocably altered for the better. So tonight, before you close your eyes, before you carry the weight of another day's wandering, I want you to place your hand on your heart and declare this with me. Speak it like you mean it, because you do. I release every agreement I made with smallness. I release every label that was placed on me before I knew who I was. I am not who my pain said I was. I am not who my delay suggested I had become. I am chosen, prepared, and positioned, not by my own perfection, but by the hand of a God who does not make mistakes. The knock is coming. The door is opening. And I am not the person who hides when opportunity arrives. I am the one who answers. I step forward with courage into every door that heaven opens. I receive everything that has been assigned to this season of my life. And I declare that the breakthrough is not something I am waiting for. It is something I am walking into. Starting now. If this message moved something in you, do not let that stirring go cold. Share this with someone whose spirit needs to hear it. Leave a comment below. Tell me what broke open for you today, because your testimony is not just for you. It is a lifeline for someone else who is still in the waiting. And if you are ready to go even deeper into what God is doing in your life right now, the link in the first pinned comment is waiting for you. This community was built for people exactly like you, people on the edge of everything. Welcome to the other side of the door.